Hello everyone. Well, I'll just be up front. I've had a cold for the last week or so. It's going away, but it's really affected my voice, as you can tell. I've lost my voice, but the one thing I haven't lost is my virginity, and that's the most important thing. So, despite having this very weird sounding voice, I'm going to push through and narrate this video for all of you because that's how much of a hero and how much integrity I have. So I hope that you guys find the time, if you haven't yet, to subscribe to my channel. And without further ado, let's begin. Lions versus Cowboys. I would like to thank the Lions for giving the Cowboys belt to ass in this Thursday night game. But more importantly, look at David Montgomery. This is just an incredible play call by Dan Campbell. Who needs Ben Johnson when you got Dan Campbell calling the shots? Dak Prescott had a couple interceptions in this game. Now, honestly, they weren't his fault, but who really gives a shit? I'm an Eagles fan. I don't care. All this Isaac Tesla guy does is catch touchdowns. Literally, he has 8 catches total on the season, and 4 of those are for scores. He's like the anti-Julio Jones. The Lions went up by 18, but the Cowboys fought back in Dak Prescott's best element, which is stat padding, to make his stat line seem respectable. Cowboys eventually made it a 3-point game for a bit, but the Lions shut the door with a hilariously casual Jahmyr Gibbs touchdown run before Dak threw a second interception to seal the game. That's 2 interceptions for Dak in this game, which is 1 interception for every playoff win he has in his 10-year career. The video continues right after this short break.
I want to give a shout out to the sponsor of today's video, DraftKings Pick 6. We are 3 months through the NFL season, and like I always say, time flies when you're having fun. And speaking of fun, DraftKings Pick 6 is here to make your experience even better. Customers can ride the upside with DraftKings Pick 6. All new DraftKings customers who play just $5 will get $50 in Pick 6 credits. Of course, I haven't forgotten about you guys. Download the DraftKings Pick 6 app now and sign up using my promo code BARRY to get in on the action. If you're still unsure about what DraftKings Pick 6 entails, let me show you. It's very simple. All you have to do is pick whether or not you think a player is going to get more of a particular stat or less of a particular stat in any given game. Like points, rebounds, assists, you name it, DraftKings Pick 6 has it. So what are you waiting for? Once again, play just $5 and get $50 in Pick 6 credits and get in on the action by signing up using my promo code BARRY. Only at DraftKings Pick 6.
Jaguars, Colts. Here's a highlight of Daniel Jones, and you better enjoy it because now his season is over after he tore his Achilles, which is actually sad. He seems like a good guy, but that insanity tour that he had the first half of the season is over. The Jaguars in this one did a pretty good job for the second straight week, although to be fair, they were playing against a team that was having Riley Leonard under center for most of their snaps. To his credit, Trevor Lawrence had a pretty big game. Remember when the Colts, they traded for Sauce Gardner? They were supposed to turn their season around. Well, their season has gone straight into the shitter to the point where now they are literally signing 44-year-old Phillip Rivers, who is a grandfather out of retirement potentially, to be their quarterback. And just for the record, Phillip Rivers is currently a semifinalist for the Pro Football Hall of Fame. If Rivers takes a single snap or gets elevated to the active roster, his Hall of Fame clock resets another 5 years, which is very similar to what Deion Sanders did 20 years ago when he came out of retirement after a couple years to play for Baltimore. But either way, the Colts are collapsing. I still don't fully buy in on the Jaguars because Trevor Lawrence, I just don't trust him enough. And also, Jacksonville's a terrible city with a bunch of old people. Steelers, Ravens. You fucking knew that the moment people started coming after Mike Tomlin's job security and started counting out the Steelers, that they were going to win this game and show up, and Aaron Rodgers was going to play it great and look like 2014 Aaron Rodgers again, because that's what Mike Tomlin does. The journey to 9-8 will not be disrupted by any of your media bullshit. Regardless, Lamar Jackson had an up and down day in what has turned out to be a lost season for the Ravens, although despite Lamar Jackson being pretty mediocre and Aaron Rodgers doing pretty well, even giving the Steelers an 11-point lead going into the fourth quarter, the game would end in controversy on, let's be honest, what should have been a catch for a touchdown to Derek Lively, which the NFL channel, unsurprisingly, did not include in their highlights for this game. That would have given Baltimore the lead with just under 3 minutes left. It got overruled, and then on Baltimore's final drive, Lamar looked panicked, and they had a sloppy final drive, and the Steelers hung on to win. I don't know what else to say. I've been saying it all year, but the Steelers, they're just not going to be denied a playoff spot in the wild card round. Titans versus Browns. In a battle between 2 black quarterbacks to end racism for good, Cam Ward struck first. Coming into this game, everybody thought that Myles Garrett could potentially set the sack record, but that's not how it turned out because Tony Pollard and the Browns' run run defense was horrid all game long, while Shadur Brady had the best game of his career because of dimes like this. All right, enough joking around. This was actually a great throw for a touchdown on 3rd and goal. And then another great throw to Jerry Jeudy. I'm not being anti-Semitic, that's his last name. And then he does a stupid ass cartwheel into the end zone, and look at a fucking snowball gets thrown. Like, it's just a very odd sequence. But even though Big Door, as they're calling him, had a pretty good game, he still is a rookie on a bad team, so he made this terrible interception. And then the Titans capitalized on it with another long touchdown run by Tony Pollard. After a fumble by the Browns, Cam Ward leached off of the short field. That reminds me of somebody he used to play, to give the Titans a double-digit lead in the 4th quarter. But Sanders, he fought back, running for a score, but this is why people don't like Shador. Look at him. He's fisting. He's pretending to fist somebody. That's very sexually explicit. I mean, there's kids watching this. Like, this guy's a psychopath. Kids don't need to see that. The Browns went for 2, and they didn't get it. But they would get the ball back again, and Sanders had another great pass to give the Browns a chance to potentially tie the game, but then they took Shador off the field entirely, and then I don't know what the fuck this was. This is one of the worst 2-point attempts ever. Browns onside kick fail, but in the bright picture for the Browns, if you think Shador is the guy, then this was probably the best possible scenario. He played great, and you also lost, so your draft stock improved. Who knows? I'm just laughing at the fact that everybody knew Dylan Gabriel was a huge fucking waste of time, and the Browns did it anyway because, well, they're the Browns. And Cam Ward is still terrible and playing worse than Will Levis was last year, which isn't great news for a former 1st overall pick. Vikings versus Commanders. Maybe getting a concussion was what J.J. McCarthy needed to actually be good. But then again, his competition was nothing to write home about. The Vikings, in the battle of 2 teams with nothing to play for this season, were in control basically the entire time. I told Commanders fans that Jaden Daniels was going to regress, and he has. He threw a terrible interception here, and once again, he had to leave the game early. So far this season, Jaden Daniels has left more games early with injury, 3, than he has wins, 2. I got nothing personal against him, but this is RG3 all over again with a little more playoff success. Anyway, I think this is Harrison Smith's first interception since like Obama was in office. Anyway, McCarthy had an easy job. Just don't make any super stupid decisions, and the Vikings coasted to an easy 31-0 win. It's a tough scene in Washington, folks, and I'm not talking about politics. Seahawks Falcons. The first half was forgettable, and for all intents and purposes, the game was 0-0 to start the second half, and then Rashid Shaheed broke the game open with a long kickoff return touchdown, and really after that, it was like the whole floodgates opened for Atlanta. Just turnover after turnover, and then Darnold and Jackson Smith and Jigba finally woke up. Kirk Cousins continued to throw interceptions. Kirk Cousins is so fucking washed now. He's not even able to put up good stat lines anymore to deceive people into thinking he played well when his team loses. But yeah, 37-9. The Falcons have now missed the playoffs for the 8th straight year, which would be the most embarrassing stretch for many franchises. But for the Falcons, it's not even the most embarrassing thing to happen to them over the last decade. Truly incredible. Saints versus Buccaneers. Well, this should be an easy win for Tampa at home, or will it? God, these screen passes remind me of a former Buccaneers quarterback, but this is just a terrible interception by Baker. Playing through a shoulder problem. It's Cleveland Baker all over again, but the real surprise in this one was 37-year-old Tyler Shuck in his rookie year, running for multiple scores, including one in the 4th quarter to give the Saints a 7-point lead. The Buccaneers had to settle for a field goal and then had one drive down 4 with a chance to win the game, and then Baker decided to kill a couple earthworms with this pass. Just a horrible loss for the Buccaneers. Bryce Young getting a home playoff game is so disgusting. Bills versus Bengals. In a game that was played on a field littered with cocaine, Joe Burr actually lived up to his elite status for most of this one, making a couple insane throws, while Josh Allen joined the party as well with an insane touchdown pass. But like I said, Burrow, in the month of December, for whatever reason, he seems to be really great. It was a back and forth battle for the most part. James Cook had a terrible goal line fumble, and then the Bengals went down on a great touchdown pass by Burrow to make it a 10-point game, and it looked like the Bills were kind of fucked, but then Josh Allen had like the easiest 40-yard touchdown. I mean, he's not even touched. Where the fuck is the defense, man? And then the game completely turned on its head with 5.5 minutes left, up 3. Burrow does this little gay throw, and it gets picked off and returned for a pick 6. Okay, there's still a lot of game left, right? Nope. Very next play, Burrow throws another interception that's tipped, and the Bills score another touchdown to go up by 11. Burrow would then throw another touchdown, his 4th of the game, to make it a 5-point game. The Bengals could have gotten the ball back, but no, Josh Allen has 17 yards on 3rd and 15 to seal the game. I'm just saying this, with the way that the AFC the playoff race is unfolding this year, there is literally no excuse for Josh Allen to not go to the Super Bowl this year. And if he fails, I don't want to see him in any all-time great conversations for a while. Dolphins versus Jets. This game fucking sucked, so I'll keep it simple. Tua throws a touchdown. Devon Achane runs for a touchdown. He's the Dolphins' best player this year. Dolphins run for another touchdown. Fast forward to the fourth quarter. Dolphins put the game away with another rushing touchdown. The Jets are starting a quarterback named Brady Cook, who then throws a terrible goal line interception to lose the game. I mean, both these teams are just horrendous, and they deserve nothing good. Packers versus Bears. Jordan Love might not throw a lot of interceptions, but when he does, they are very, very bad. But lately, he also throws a lot of touchdowns, as you see here, which gave the Packers an early 2-score lead. Caleb Williams started off the game being very bad, but then he settled in, made a couple nice plays. The Packers still, though, created a lot of separation. Christian Watson had like one of his 2 games per year where he turns into Calvin Johnson, right? But eventually, the Bears found a way to tie the game up at 21, but the Packers responded, including this amazing 21-yard run by drunk driver Josh Jacobs, which eventually ended with a Packers touchdown. And the game ended on 4th and 1. Caleb Cutler threw a terrible game-losing interception. Look at Matt LaFleur. Matt LaFleur is like, fuck you, Ben Johnson, talking shit about me to the media. If there was ever a year for Jordan Love to carry on the one Super Bowl legacy of Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers before him, it would be this year. Broncos versus Raiders. Oh, wow. You mean to tell me that Bo Nix won a game where he didn't really do a lot, but he was buoyed by his elite defense and special teams? That hasn't happened often. This punt return was really a great play by Bo Nix. Really shows how much he's improved. This handoff too, unbelievable to put the Broncos up by 14. As if that wasn't enough, Kenny Kitten Mittens Pickett, Super Bowl champion, did everything he could to get the Raiders back into this game. And then this is the most hilarious field goal of all time. Kicking a field goal down 10 as time expires and they're celebrating. I mean, this is like being excited about a porn star having her nudes get leaked. Just completely redundant and unnecessary. Rams versus Cardinals. Yeah, you can bet how this one went, unsurprisingly. The Rams beat their shit. No offense to chronic masturbators. Matthew Stafford continued his MVP season with another great game. The biggest takeaway from this game, Jonathan Gannon was hired for his defensive prowess, supposedly, right? But in the last 5 games, the Cardinals have given up a 40 burger to each of their divisional rivals to fall to 3-10. I would be stunned if Gannon is back in Arizona next year. But the real highlight of this game was that we got to see Jimmy Garoppolo hand the ball off and take the knee. This is the most important knee any player or person has ever taken in human history. God bless Jimmy Garoppolo, and God bless his parents for making such a stud, but not in a gay way. I'm totally not gay. Texans versus Chiefs. The Texans came out firing, going up 10-0, and it looked like they were going to blow the Chiefs out, especially after Mahomes threw a terrible interception, and Harrison Butker missed yet another field goal. Oh, look at that. He went too far to the right. Ha ha ha. We don't talk about politics on this channel unless it's an edgy joke. Despite everything, it looked like the Chiefs were going to right the ship. They scored a touchdown, and then Mahomes, this is why Tom Brady's better. Tom Brady wills his receiver to hang on to this. If this hits you in the hands, you can't let the defensive back bitch you. You got to hang on to that shit. And then look at this. Mahomes plays dodgeball with Kareem Hunt. That's another drop, so they have to settle for a field goal. Here's another one. Rashee Rice is on the wrong side of a collision that ends up with the perpetrator walking away without any consequences. That's a change. And it's also another drop. And then Mahomes decides to throw a fucking arm punt, which is fine. And then on the next possession, 4th and 1, Andy Reid decides to go for it, and they run the play out of a shotgun formation. And this is what I'm going to do a little rant here, okay? I've said for years that eventually the Chiefs' refusal to do quarterback sneaks would eventually fuck them in the ass, and they haven't done it because 7 years ago in Denver, Mahomes had a fluke injury on a quarterback sneak. It's times like this where doing a quarterback sneak, even if it wouldn't have worked, it would have been more acceptable than this. And I'm using the short field. The Texans took a 7-point lead, and then Mahomes' receivers really fucked him up. Rashee Rice, another crucial drop. I just don't really ever remember this happening to Tom Brady. And then the clincher on the next drive, Mahomes, not a great pass, but it hits Kelsey in the hands. Your Hall of Fame tight end, you get paid a lot of money. This is the 3rd time this year Kelsey has forced and turned a reception into an interception. Overall, I'm not going to talk about the Chiefs' record record because that's a meme now. But the Chiefs season is probably over, and now I have to listen for the next 12 months or so about how Tom Brady is the GOAT because Mahomes missed the playoffs because his teammates are dropping passes and his defense couldn't show up in clutch time for most of the season. You know, Tom Brady fans can suck the fattest part of my dick. I swear to God, I fucking hate all of you still. Chargers versus Eagles. All right, this is what you wanted, so let's do it, all right? I knew immediately once this shit happened, Jalen Hurts commits 2 turnovers on the same fucking play. I knew that this game was not going to end well. I don't know what the fuck Jalen is doing on this play. This is just a terrible throw, interception, turnover. Can't have it, just can't have it. Jake Elliott misses another crucial kick that would have been the difference for like the 3rd week in a row. But the biggest culprit, or the biggest 2 culprits in this game for the Eagles' loss are Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown. And I mean, look, you're a fucking elite receiver, and all you do is fucking talk shit the entire season, and the ball hits you in the hands. You better catch the fucking ball. And then this will get lost in his history. Hurts throws a beautiful pass, which should have been a touchdown, but you can't hold on to the fucking ball. God damn it. So he had to settle for a field goal, and then it goes into overtime, and then this is another great throw by Jalen, but they're right on the verge, and I don't know what the fuck this Jalen gets greedy, makes a terrible throw, game-losing interception. I mean, there's no excuse for this. Jalen Hurts was dog shit, but all the haters already think he's dog shit, so everyone's now going to have their confirmation bias that shows that, you know, oh, this proves Jalen Hurts sucks. Whatever. He did suck in this game. Another winnable game for the Eagles that they choked away. Season isn't over, though. That's the thing. Season isn't over. It's 8-5. Right? We can still win the division, okay? I wouldn't be much of a fan if I just gave up on my team in the tough times, right? I'm not a bandwagon fan, I'm an Eagles fan. So I'm rooting for them to turn it around. I don't know what's going to happen. This is just such a weird year, but this is another heartbreaking loss and a terrible loss. And for the next week or so, Jalen Hurts, he's going to get shit on, and he deserves to get shit on. No excuses from me.